what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Do Marketing Differently podcast presented by Go Rogue X. This is the podcast dedicated to doing things a little bit differently, going rogue with your marketing, giving value, serving first, before ever even asking for a sale. And make sure you subscribe because we have weekly updates in the podcast and our YouTube channel as well to provide you the most value, tips, and tricks. And we bring on amazing guests to help us with that. But first, my co-host, Lauren Lewis, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you, Brad?
I'm doing so well. I'm very excited today because we have the infamous expert plumber, Roger Wakefield. How's it going, Roger?
It's going fantastic. How are y'all doing today?
Oh, so good, my man. So good. Yeah, I can't think of anybody else when it comes to our company vision and goal forecasting and stuff and things that we want for our company, and even for the podcast providing value. You are a person that we constantly are talking about basically what you do through your YouTube channel, through your LinkedIn Lives, just giving value to a lot of people. And we're so excited to kind of jump into all that. But Roger, give us kind of a brief overview of you, your career path, your history, and then obviously what you're doing today.
I started plumbing 40 years ago, and along the way, I'd get out of it and try different things. People think it's funny. I used to be a cosmetologist, a bouncer, a bodyguard, a massage therapist. I've done so many different things, but I always end up back in plumbing. And I think it's because I really love it. And I started my own company about 5 years ago. And I like what y'all talk about, a new kind of marketing, because we were paying marketing companies that would make our phone stop ringing. And I mean, that's a scary thought when you're a business owner and you have families depending on you. So I decided that I wanted to learn social media. And I went to a social media marketing conference out in San Diego, and I was just blown away. And literally, I took notes for 3 days. I had to leave early that Friday because I had a radio show. After the radio show, or on the way home on the plane, I was taking notes. The next day after a radio show, I came back to the office going through all my notes. The next day after church, I came back, went through all my notes. Monday, when my wife and stepson came in, I said, we're changing everything we do and we're starting right now. And that's how I ended up where I'm at.
That's amazing. That's so cool. And actually what's interesting, Roger, I met you at that first social media marketing conference. You and I sat close to each other, and I remember it was a video seminar that they were doing, a workshop. And we started talking, and you were asking, you're like, yeah, I think this video thing, all this content stuff, I think I'm going to start trying it. And no lie, it was just kind of like, I was like, that's cool. This guy's a plumber, he's trying, he's doing something, I was like, and I came home and I remember talking about it. I was like, yeah, he's going to try it out. There's really some really cool stuff. And you had all these ideas. And I remember us talking, I was like, well, I'll do some video. And we talked just briefly about it. And then over that next year, we connected on LinkedIn, and I started to see you kind of start to get more and more content out there and kind of figure out the whole style of your show and how you're offering that value. But what's kind of cool is over even just the past couple weeks, man, your YouTube channel has started to just blow up. I used to see those updates from you like, hey, I hit 500 subscribers, and hey, I hit 1,000, and now we're at 1,500, 2,000. What has happened in the past couple weeks, man?
Oh God, Brian, it hadn't even been a couple of weeks. It's literally since last Friday.
Oh my goodness.
And coming up to Friday, we had seen it's like, okay, our views are picking up a little bit, subs are picking up a little bit, things are inching up. Which it's been that way for the last 6 months or so. Or I say that it's been that way for the last year and a half. But to be honest, this last Friday, I woke up, I had 59,000 subscribers. Saturday, I had 65. Sunday, I had 70, 75. And I mean, literally, here it is, Thursday, a week later. And I think I'll hit 95 to 98,000 today. It blows my mind.
That is crazy. That is crazy. Well, and it's just seeing the progression of your videos over time. You've really just upped the quality. And I actually met your producer or your video editor at Social Media Marketing World this last year, and got to talk with him. And I apologize, I don't remember his name.
Grayson.
Grayson, yeah.
I had Grayson with me this year, and I brought Will with me last year.
Oh, okay. Okay, nice. That's awesome. It obviously that team that you've kind of put together, I mean, they're doing a phenomenal job too on top of this. I mean, and even if you guys are watching on video right now, Roger's setup, I mean, you've kind of changed it up a little bit here and there, but you're also kind of expanding on that and you're doing even more. Tell us a little bit about that space that you're kind of going in. You were kind of telling us before we started recording, but is that okay? I didn't mean to.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, no,
Okay.
absolutely. No, you're good. You're good. Everything we do over here is really, Roger Wakefield, YouTube, plumbing. We've been talking about, this is our sponsorship wall. And, right now it's sponsored by our plumbing company because we've never had a sponsor. But, last week we actually signed our first sponsorship agreement. It's a very nice sponsorship agreement, one that we're really happy with. And we've been working on since last September. And, COVID hit and it stalled everything. But when that happened, and we have seen that our YouTube channel has been doing better. So we had decided, and, when we first started YouTube, it was Texas Green Plumbing. Then we decided, well, we won the expert plumber contest with American Standard. Let's change it to the expert plumber. Then it was like, look, we don't want to brand the expert plumber. Let's brand Roger Wakefield.
Mm,
So we've changed things a couple of times. But one thing that we wanted to do is we wanted to reach out to all the trades because I have not just plumbers, I have electricians, HVAC techs, roofers, landscapers, anybody in the residential service industry reaches out and asks me, how do you do what you do? So what we decided is we wanted to create a whole nother YouTube channel, magazine, studio, the whole nine yards. So we're getting ready to launch the Trade Talks. And we finished our first magazine. I need to send y'all a link to it.
Yeah.
yes.
But it's good because I've got different tradespeople and different social media marketing people from around the country contributing to this because I want it to be something to give people something of value.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
That's
That's
awesome.
seriously.
Yeah. So when you were starting your YouTube channel and getting all your videos, how did you decide to generate your topics and your video content?
At first it was just we were literally trying to make videos that we thought our plumbing customers would like, videos that could help them, videos that could teach them. I mean, there's a lot of things that plumbers, electricians, HVAC techs, anybody do that like you could really do it yourself. And my whole thought process was look, if we'll do this right, we can teach people how to do things themselves. They can save money and know they're doing it right. And that was really a big deal to me. So, Lauren, that's how we started. We thought, look, we're going to teach people stuff. And luckily for me, and Brian was in some of these same social media conferences that I was at in some of the same sessions. It's like, look, bring value. And I still remember both Daryl and Sean at that first event saying, look, if you're going to make a video, give people value because they're giving you time of their life to watch it. And I thought, wow, that's a big way to look at it. And to me, we started making the easy ones, how to turn off your water, how to fix a running toilet, how to unjam a garbage disposal, things that any homeowner can really do very easily if they know the right way. Once we started doing that, we started realizing now we've got more plumbers or people wanting to get into the trades watching our show and asking questions about that. So that gave us another opportunity to kind of expand and broaden what we were talking about.
That's amazing. That's again, a question we always ask is kind of, how to advice you would give to somebody just starting out. And that kind of is right out of the gate, right? Just bringing that value. But you also do something very well, which is kind of the education entertainment mix too. You guys have just really upped your quality of videos in general, just to kind of include kind of a fun factor to them. And I think that has helped as well. But that advice you give somebody that's just kind of starting out, just kind of growing a small YouTube channel, what's one piece of advice you give them?
It's funny because with everything going on my YouTube channel right now, I've got some of the biggest YouTubers in the world reaching out to me. And I mean, these are all names that you would know. And literally one of them just sent me a message earlier. He says, look, your consistency is the thing that keeps you separated from everybody else. And I mean, think about it, Brian, when we met the first time, a month later, I started putting out 3 videos a week.
Wow.
We've been consistent with that. And actually, we've upped our game because now we're doing a YouTube live every Monday.
Yeah.
But the big thing is, I mean, we started with this right here. We started with a phone. We started with a webcam on a computer. And Will came in a couple of weeks ago. He says, "Man, do we need to go back and take some of these old videos down? I'm afraid that the new videos are going to roll people over into an old one, and they're going to leave." And it's like, you know what? If that's what they do, let them leave. I'm not worried about the old videos. That's not what we're about anymore. But you know what? That's where we started. And I have no problem. I've still got videos that have 12 views.
Nice.
And I go back and watch them. I think all 12 of them may be me. But I go back and watch them and I'm just like, man, I have learned so much. But I leave them up because I want anybody who says, I may want to do this. I've heard about this Roger guy. Go in and do the search and turn it around, go to the oldest videos and look where I started. And look, it's not anything I'm proud of, but you know what? At least I started. And I think that's one of the biggest things.
I think that's huge, especially for somebody. And we were kind of joking. We recorded a podcast, kind of consistently, but we were talking about perfectionism, and I'm that guy. I need to make sure everything looks perfect and it's all lit well and everything. And so it's kind of funny because going through like looking at what we're doing, a lot of people won't start because they want it to look perfect, because they feel like they have to say everything the right way and make sure. And again, starting on a phone, some of the basic stuff, but really it's just doing it and then being consistent at it. I think that those are phenomenal points.
One of the things every time that we end up coaching somebody on YouTube, the first thing we tell them is, look, number one, figure out in 5 to 8 words, what is your YouTube channel about? Because if you can't tell me in 5 to 8 words, YouTube is never going to figure you out.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you get people, oh, well, I've got a cat channel about traveling and good food. It's like, you know what? Good luck with that. The thing is, if anybody comes for any one of those items, as soon as you serve them up a video of the other item, they're done. They're like, this is not what I'm here for.
Yep.
And we tell people that, think about what are those 5 words. And then from that point forward, every video you make is about that.
Yeah.
And if you can remember that, every single time you make a video, remember what your video is about and stick to it. I mean, this works, guys. There's no magic to it. It's learning how to do it. But if you wait on every light to turn green, you're never going to leave the house.
Yeah. That's so
Okay.
true.
Just go get started. It works.
Yeah. I love that you said there's no magic to it. There really isn't. It's following kind of a simple platform or simple, strategy that we as consumers use anyway. Right. I mean, I go to YouTube, I'm like, I want to learn how to do something. I'm like, I don't care how cool all the stuff is. Like, if I'm looking for a how to, I just want that information. Right. Or entertainment wise too. It's like, if you can add on top of that, you're giving value, but then it's also fun to watch and you feel that connection, that human connection as well. And there's so many factors that just then can catapult, obviously, your content. That's awesome.
And I like the way you put it like that. You mentioned Grayson a while ago. And I think this is a lot of what helps us become what we are is the fact that, look, I'm an old guy. And I remember the day that I was on the treadmill and Gary Vee picks up the phone. He says, I don't care if you're 20, if you're 50, if you're 70, you can do this. And I mean, I stepped off the treadmill and it was like a week or two before I met you. And I mean, literally stepped off the treadmill and rewound it again so I could hear him say it again. You can do this. And to me, it's sad that I needed a guy in New York to look at me through an iPad and say, hey, you can do this.
Yeah.
But that's when I decided, wow, you know what? I can do this. But I also understand I'm an old guy. So my editors are both very young. Will's my content creator. Grayson is my editor. And I'm looking for another editor right now. But the neat thing about it is I let them do what they want to do. If I hire great people and I micromanage them, I'm just going to make them do it my way. I want them to understand, look, y'all can have fun and never make me look stupid, which they do sometimes, but that's really easy. But the thing is, they're allowed to have fun. They're allowed to say, "Hey, look, we're gonna make Roger's head explode or something." Okay, do what you got to do.
That's hilarious.
That's awesome. We love trying to, our company is relatively new, and so we're still kind of building that foundation of culture. And it's always been that's one of our goals is that, especially within a content creation sphere, we want you to be able to be a creative and enjoy what you do and get paid for it. And it's hard within that sphere, just because there's so much pressure to be something else. And
Yeah,
so I love that.
absolutely.
So you shared that consistency is really the key to success. And so how do you keep going and generate new ideas and new content?
Number one, in plumbing, there's a million different things we could talk about, but you always want to look at what are people looking for. And there's a lot of different tools out there to use. I mean, literally, you've got Google Trends, you've got all kinds of keyword search tools, you've got SEO analytics that you can go in and use. But our big deal is we look at what have we done in the past that's worked? What kind of calls do we get that come into the plumbing company? And go back to Marcus Sheridan or somebody. I mean, they ask, you answer. And people ask you questions all the time. And it's so funny when I'm trying to think, man, what videos have we not made? I go to Amber, who's like my manager. She's the front of the house manager. Julie manages the back end. Amber's the call center and dispatcher and all that. But I ask her, I say, hey, what questions do people ask you when they call? And I mean, she can give me a list.
Mhm.
And the other thing is, we get a lot of people that want to get into the trades that call her and say, hey, I saw Roger on YouTube. I want to know how to start, or I want to know what to do. And even though we've got those videos out there, they may ask for a certain reason. I'm in the military and I don't know how to get started.
Mm.
I'm in high school and I don't know how to get started. And we can take those and say, wow, you know what? If one person called us to ask that, there's probably a million out there with that question, and make that video and put it out.
That's phenomenal. That's such good advice too, because it's uh we consult for it's Facebook Live and podcasting and stuff like that, and we generally they say, well, I want to do this, but I have nothing to talk about, and I'm like, I guarantee you, kind of what you said. It's like take your top 10 questions that people ask you. Consider. I'll even say, hey, so what's one question that you just get all the time? Well, it's this, and this, and we assume people know this by now. It's like, well, obviously they don't, and that's a great place to start. There's your first Facebook Live video of educating people in that sense. So, yeah,
And think about it, Brian. You can normally take that question. If Amber says, people want to know how to turn the water off. Okay. How to turn the water off at the water meter, how to turn it off at the valve box, how to turn it off under a sink, how to turn it off at the toilet, how to turn it off at the water heater. There's 5 videos right there off one little question.
yeah. Oh, that's huge. Yeah, even taking it even deeper in those different level layers to that. That's I hadn't even thought about that too.
I need to go watch those videos. I had someone ask me the other day, and they were working in my house, and they were like, "Can you go turn off the water?" I was like, "I have no idea where it is."
Hey, I've got a guy for you.
Yes,
I got a
I can watch all these videos, and now I won't feel stupid in front of people.
There you go. No, you'll be telling them no, that's not how you do that.
Yeah. Um, so you talk about, we kind of hit on it briefly, but you're very big on LinkedIn as well. And you're doing LinkedIn Live. You were uh, some of the first 10 people, I think, that got access. Is that correct?
I was one of the first 12 people in the world to do LinkedIn Live.
Yeah, that's incredible. And I think that kind of came out around this last social media marketing world when we reconnected there, and that's huge because LinkedIn Live is obviously a great place for networking. You also promote networking inside of LinkedIn. I've watched several of those videos. Kind of tell us just real quick, kind of your strategy behind LinkedIn Live and what you guys are doing on that platform.
It's really funny. You talked about networking. We started out learning to network to help grow the plumbing company, or at least I did. My wife is an etiquette and protocol consultant. She would go networking all the time. So she finally got me to do it. And it blew my mind how well it worked. So we joined a networking group, Master Networks, and it's been good for us because we really helped grow the company between social media and networking. And I tell people all the time, what I learned networking is what I do on LinkedIn. And what I mean is, on networking, I would never walk up to somebody in person and say, "Hey, give me your address. I'm gonna come to your house tomorrow, check out your plumbing, and send you a bill."
Yeah.
Matter of fact, just pay me when I'm there. And they're gonna be like, "Dude, get away from
Yeah.
me." But I'll connect with people. I guarantee I connected with 10 people this week. 5 of them sent me a message like, "Hey, I think I can help you grow your business. Connect with me. Here's my calendar link. Here's this, here's this, here's this." And it's just like block. I, the biggest thing I think that I learned networking, everybody that I meet is not my customer, but I meet people that can introduce me to my
Yep.
customers.
Yep.
Same thing on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is so wonderful for me because I can build my community or my tribe nationwide. And the people that I reach out to, remember, I'm a plumber. I talk about networking. I talk about social media. I talk about video. I talk about social media marketing. Every time that I'm on LinkedIn or every time I do something, I know why people connect with me. And if all I got on there to do was sell, man, I'd be over. I never try to sell anything. Most people don't even know that I teach social media or that I do video or that I have a studio. Most people I meet, they just think, okay, this is his office or whatever. I never sell anything I'm doing. When people get to know me, they're like, man, look, I want to learn what you learned. Then we figure out how we did it. Or even if they're the right fit for me, they may not be.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, and I think you relating it to meeting somebody in person is a great way. People don't think about that on social media. They think 20% off, 20% off, 20 like you're doing some type of big push for yourself, and that's what they think social media is for. And it's not. It's for that connecting, it's for that networking, it's that building a relationship, giving that value. And but it's a long play. And that's what I love about what you've built essentially through your business, but then also just on, digital is basically it's a long play into that to where it's like I'm gonna just keep doing this and be consistent and giving value, and it's gonna come back to me. I mean, and obviously you're seeing that because uh, how long ago did you start your YouTube channel?
2 years and 4 months. And I mean, my YouTube channel says 2014, which is funny because from walking into Daryl's session,
Uh-huh.
and it's funny because I had this conversation with him yesterday. That was the second day of the social media conference for me. I was headed to another session to learn Facebook or something. And I walked by this placard that says, "Get in front of your customers using video." And I just thought, wow, I can do that. So I go sit on the front row and the room fills up. Daryl comes in to talk. And one of the first things he says is, "YouTube is the second largest search engine in the world."
Yep.
And I'm sitting there, and I mean, literally, I shut my notebook and I turn around because I'm thinking about getting up and leaving. And I see that the room is packed because I thought this guy doesn't even know what he's talking about. I've had I've had YouTube since 2014. That's just where I store videos. And this guy thinks it's a search engine.
Mhm.
God. And I did. And I thought, man, I'm on the front row. I'm not going to get up and walk out. So I opened my book back up. And over the next 45 minutes, I realized I need to get on YouTube. Pretty neat story.
Yep. Yep. I remember that. That's one of his go-to lines too, and I've always remembered that. I'm like, Daryl, that's a phenomenal quote because so many people do that, and obviously with it being owned by the largest search engine in the world, that helps as well too. So, um,
Absolutely.
So a lot of times when we talk with our clients and we're growing their social media and everything, they are very focused on like likes or how many followers and everything. And they are important to understand. But how do you measure your channel's success?
It's really funny because, and you're right. And I posted something the other day that said, look, subscribers and stuff like that's a vanity metric, but we all look at it. And I think that we have to have a way to see what are our KPIs, what numbers show us that what we're doing is working. And with me, the real thing that does it for me is how the plumbing company is doing because we don't advertise. Everything that we do is social media. and I can look at what are our monthly numbers, what are our weekly numbers. But luckily, Amber is really good at tracking where do the calls come from. And I mean, she'll laugh. She'll say, "You know what? We got 3 calls today off YouTube." And it's funny because part of what we teach, and Brian, I don't know what all sessions you were in that first year that I was there in 18, but the one thing people kept saying is, look, yeah, guys, social media is not for local. Okay.
Mm.
Social media just, it doesn't work for local. And I heard that multiple times. And I'm like, okay, I've proven y'all wrong because I'm growing a business
Mhm.
here in Dallas, Texas on social media.
Yeah,
And I think that if you learn to do things right, you can do any business on social media. You have to do it right and be consistent. I think that's a big deal.
absolutely. Well, and you took a something you've been doing 40 years, plumbing. I don't want. I mean, you don't look 45. So you started what when you're 6 years old,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. I'll be 60 in like 3 years. So
Man, but you've taken something that you were already doing and mastering and learning yourself, and then you started sharing that out, right? I think a lot of people do it the opposite, where it's, I'm going to start talking about video games or how to you know underwater basket weaving or something, and it's like, I'm going to start my channel on that, and then but they don't have any experience, and then obviously it runs out. But you were able to take something, and I think you built it well because you're like, this is what I know, and then you're sharing your experiences along the way, and just giving back to people, which I think is phenomenal and the right way to do it.
the neat thing about it is it's not just what I know. I love plumbing. And, one thing that Julie and I talk about all the time is people can learn their way up. And it's a big deal to me because I think education is our way out of anything. And it doesn't matter whether we are wanting to learn social media, whether we live in South Dallas and say, look, I'm stuck in this neighborhood, I'll never get out. You can learn your way up out of any situation in your life. And look at me, a plumber, having to pay marketing companies that are ripping him off. And I mean, when I say that, I mean, literally, we would hand a marketing company $20,000 to rebuild everything that we've done. And then the next week, we are literally picking up our phone, calling the office to see if the phone's working because it's like, look, the phones have stopped ringing. What
Wow.
is wrong? And it was that bad. And, I don't know if you heard uh, Stelzner's keynote this year, but I mean, that first year, Julie called me and was blowing up my phone in a session saying, or just blowing it up. I walk out in between sessions. I call back. I'm like, hey, what's wrong? She says, look, we're not going to be in business when you get back.
Mm.
So have fun, enjoy your time. And I'm like, look, I'm here to learn. This is not the way to get my mindset in the right direction. But getting out and learning can take you into whatever you want to do. And if you say, look, I'm too broke, I can't do this, look, the trades are a great opportunity. And I love plumbing. So just talking about, I mean, if I said, hey, look, I want to talk about Yetis or the way they're built or whatever, number one, it doesn't interest me. I may think, man, a lot of people are looking for this, but man, if I can be that guy, I can become the Yeti guy. But man, if I have no passion about it, if
Yeah.
I'm not excited about it, but I mean, I love plumbing. I love the trades. I love the opportunities that a high school graduate can grow and own a company and become a millionaire, do whatever he wants to do. It's up to them.
Mhm.
You can learn your way up out of any situation you're in. And I wish more people saw that and realized that.
Yeah, it's interesting. We just had this conversation with a group of guys that I know, and we were talking about that. Like, hey, are you going to be sending your kid to college, or are you saving for college, and this and that and the other? And it was one of that conversation where I was like, if they have paid scholarships and they're going and that's what they want to do, absolutely. But I'm not going to force my kid into going to college if they want to go into the trades. I'm like, that's where the world is heading now. And I mean, we need people, in the fields and doing those things. And people can make a lot of money too doing that. I saw a stat not too long ago where like plumbing, electrician were some of the top paid that you can. It was kind of making fun of like people with multiple degrees who are making $25,000 a year, and it's like an electrician's making $80,000 a year, doing something with no college degree. And not to bash any kind of colleges or higher education, but figure out what you want to do. And I think you can, especially in that passion. If you're passionate about it, by all means, and you're helping people too, and building in a business, I think is pretty awesome.
I tell you what, and I tell young kids these days, look, learn to edit video. learn the video while you're out, because you know what? That's going to be a high demand job in the future. And it's something they can learn right now.
Mhm.
And you talk about the college degrees, and I mean, no disrespect or anything at all, but I've got 4 people with college degrees that work for me,
Yeah.
and it's for a reason. I've got 2 video people. I've got a plumber that actually has a college degree, and
Oh,
my
yeah.
wife has master's degrees.
Wow.
But it's like, you know what? We all come together and we all do our thing. And look, I would not be where I'm at without any one of them. So I mean, no disrespect to that at all. But as a tradesman, I've built a business that can support those people, and they support us. So it's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Roger, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. And I appreciate it too. Again, we started talking about you last year to get you on the podcast. It's just cool now to see just all your channels and stuff growing and the impact that you're making. Where, if people are interested in connecting with you or want to, subscribe, where can they go?
YouTube and Facebook, it's all under Roger Wakefield. We are launching the trade talks, and you'll be able to find us same places. YouTube, probably not Facebook. Yeah, we're going to do something on Facebook, but we're going to do a podcast for the trade talks too, just to get that information out there. I really think that the trades are a great opportunity for a lot of people, and some people don't even know that that opportunity is there, and that's what I'm wanting to help them find.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, hey, make sure you guys go check out Roger Wakefield on all the platforms, and then obviously with LinkedIn as well. And then on our website, on our blog, we'll make sure to have all of the links we've talked about. Everything we've discussed today will obviously be there at goroguex.com. Any final thoughts there, Lauren?
I mean, I'm like feeling empowered to
Yeah.
like fix my house now. I literally did last year have a service call where a plumber came out to fix like this small drip. And he was like, you literally can buy a cap for that. And it was a $2 cap. And I had to pay $70 for the service call for this $2 cap.
Yeah.
He was there for 3 minutes. So I'm now feeling very empowered to watch these videos.
Well,
And I tell you what, the $70 call isn't bad. I would literally, I teach real estate agents plumbing, and went and did a session. And this lady's like, look, I don't care how long you talk about or how good your video is. I'm not fixing my toilet. I came back 3 months later, and she says, okay, I got to be honest with you, because lives outside of my area. She said, I got to be honest with you. I called a plumber and found out how much it was going to be for him to come rebuild one toilet. She said, I rebuilt all 4 toilets in my house watching your video.
That's
$1,200.
awesome.
So it's like, hey, you know what? It does. It works.
yeah, absolutely.
Lauren, thank you so much. Brian, man, this has been good. It's been too long.
Yes, I agree. And I'm anxious to, we'll get back into the real world at some point
Yes.
and be able to connect again at another conference. So, but thanks again, Roger. This was great.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys next week.
All right. You have to sing karaoke. What song do you pick?
Willie Nelson, Whiskey River.
Nice.
Wow, that's good. This is gonna be the first song that popped in my head. This is terrible. The Creed higher.
Gosh.
I feel like I can do the butt rock voice pretty well, so that way I
Yeah.
don't embarrass myself too much, and everybody's gonna crack up and have some fun with it. So I'm including other people. What about you?
Well, karaoke is like my worst nightmare. But
Yes.
Eye of the Tiger would be really fun.
Okay, yeah. You gotta have a crowd favorite. That's
Yeah.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, that way I wouldn't be singing alone.
Yeah.
And again, worst nightmare. So-
Yeah.
Yeah, yours and mine both.
All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. If you were left on a deserted island with either your worst enemy or no one, which would you choose and why?
No one. I'm really good about just getting into my own head and talking to myself, so I could survive that.
Okay.
Yep. As a true introvert, I'm the same way. I'm like, that sounds kind of amazing. I'm sure it will get extra boring after a while,
Yeah.
but I would much rather be alone.
I'm in the same boat. I'm an
Oh,
introvert as
nice,
well.
nice,
I guess
okay.
if we all have our, beach ball or
Yeah,
volleyball, or
yeah.
Wilson,
You
we're
bet.
good.
Wilson.
We're
Wilson.
ready to go.
Wilson, how are you?
Exactly. That's awesome. Well, hey, this was great, Roger. Thanks.
Thank y'all. I'll tell you what, this has been fun. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Nice. All right.
Good?
We're good. Roger, thanks again, man. This is fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah.
Long time coming, but we appreciate it, and we'll be still connecting with you, obviously, and following your journey. So very inspiring.
Well, thank y'all very much. This really has. It's been fun. Man, it was a great one. So I hope it does well.